Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video as we sit 6 days out from the trade deadline. Injury news and discussions of who may or may not be on the block, that kind of thing. So Anton Khudobin, who there'd been rumors about whether or not he might be on the block, or Holtby might be on the block, and maybe they'd bring up Khudobin. Well, this kind of probably takes Holtby off the block if he was on there at all. Khudobin did have hip surgery yesterday. He will miss 6 months. So, 35 years of age, hip surgery. There's always that risk that maybe he does not end up playing at the NHL level again after he's recovered from hip surgery. So I hope everything goes well for Anton Khudobin. Fingers crossed for him. But again, hip surgery when it involves goaltenders can be tricky coming back from that. Brendan Smith activated from the IR for the Carolina Hurricanes. They did send down Jalen Chatfield before that was the case, so this was expected. And yeah, Carolina, I think is in a good position to A, win the division, and B, go on a bit of a run in the playoffs. So having Smith back helps. First start in his NHL career for Shalgren tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I do wish him the best, although he's against Dallas, so I wish him a good night in a losing cause, only because Dallas could be above the playoff line with a victory tonight. And, for Toronto, though, I have to say this. It would be nice to see the goaltending and defensive issues they've been having get fixed. And whether that comes from within or whether that involves a move at the deadline, we'll see. But it'd be nice to see that get straightened out because they do have a very good record. They're just having a really hard time keeping the puck out of their net lately. And yeah, this time of year that can be something that just sees you end up golfing a little bit earlier than you expected to in the spring. Ben Sherratt expected to be scratched tonight because he is on the market. They want to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So he's sitting out, likely to be dealt. It could be as soon as tonight. I mean, while we're at it, it could be a moot point. He could end up being traded before the game. That could happen too. So Sherratt is expected to be one of the defensemen getting moved at the deadline. I will be interested to see if Lindholm gets moved by the Ducks after they just moved Manson. So yeah, this could be an interesting deadline when it comes to defensemen. Tomas Hertl is telling the press that basically the talks between himself and the team about a contract extension are kind of the same spot they've been in for a while. And so you have to ask, how long does this go before San Jose says, if we can't sign him, we're going to have to trade him? We have 6 days till the trade deadline. Hertl would likely be the biggest name moved if that did happen. And I think they could get a really good return. Hertl's still young. It is possible that a team could pick him up and maybe they could work out an extension with him. And I've mentioned this before, maybe work out the extension before the trade and then have the trade take place. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. I do like Hertl a lot. I think that he's got a lot of potential. I could see a 40-goal season for him. But we'll see where he goes or whether or not he ends up staying in San Jose. Brad Treliving revealing that the Calgary Flames are looking to add. And he also mentioned that while things were quiet over the last week, things have really started to pick up over the last day. Phones are starting to ring. General managers are starting to make calls. And he said basically that general managers are doing their due diligence. They're doing their research before they call to make trades. They know exactly what they're getting in players that they're inquiring about. And so that tells you they likely have a really good idea of what those players are worth too. So it'll be interesting to see how these deals stack up in comparison with other trade deadlines. If general managers stick to their guns and say, I'm only willing to give up this for that player, or I demand that for this player, we'll see how that all lines up. For Canuck fans, the bad news is it looks like Pettersson will miss tonight's game. He was not at practice. And it feels a lot like the wrist injury last year. Remember, last year was just, well, he's out. Well, he's just not at practice. He's probably okay. And then all of a sudden it was, he's not okay. So hopefully that's not what's going on with Pettersson, but you just never know. It's that time of year where they tell us less. They definitely don't appreciate people being nosy about what exactly the true nature is of the injuries, which I know gambling sites are upset about when it comes to all the gambling stuff, especially looking ahead. They want to have a really good idea of how long a player is going to be out and what the injuries are. Yeah, the NHL doesn't work that way. We had thought that once the NHL got into these, agreements with BetMGM and others, that once all these sports books were taking money and making money off NHL stuff, then maybe the NHL will be more forthcoming. That hasn't happened. There hasn't been any change this year in the way injuries are reported from years prior, because I don't think general managers are under any sort of pressure to do so. They're just looking out for themselves and for their players. And yeah, so there you are. Again, Pettersson is day to day, but it was day to day last time. Then it was week to week, and then it was he may be down for a while. So we'll see. And it reminds me too of Jack Eichel. Remember Eichel? Nothing wrong with him, and then well, maybe he's a little bit sore. Yeah, no, he's broken, and then he's out of Buffalo. So not saying Pettersson goes in any kind of a similar direction. Just it is a similar situation to what Pettersson went through last year. We'll see how long he's out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.